I'm going to talk to you today about the Maldives and the problem that they have with fresh water, more importantly, drinking water. Let's talk about where the Maldives is just to get things off. 300 miles off the coast of India is where it lies. It's an archipelago. It's made up of atolls. The population is about 500,000, according to the Maldives Bureau of Statistics Population Report in 2022. It's also the lowest country by elevation. Because it's an atoll, that's the reason. So right now, it does not have lakes, water, rivers. What it needs is to get the water from rainwater or groundwater. That's how you get the drinking water. Climate change is a big threat to both of those because droughts caused by El Nino happen every 2 to 7 years. That can be a threat year by year, but not a repeat threat. Water. So a lot of times they're still getting water shipped in from like India, which is very costly and a long-term problem that they need to solve. So let's look at Abdullah Al-Samin and Ryan Bailey explained in an article in 2018 in Hydrological Process basically how an atoll works and how the groundwater works. You have the Pleistocene aquifer, which is a limestone layer, which on top of it is the Holocene aquifer, which is just some sand. Then at the very top here, we have the freshwater lands of just the freshwater drinking water. That mixes in the mixing zone with the salt water, the sand, and is not usable for drinking. So basically, that freshwater lens shrinks as it is pumped up and can only be recharged with rain. So a drought is a problem here. So let's talk about Gan Island. Ryan Bailey and Chenda Dang in Water in 2019 did research on what would happen with population increases, increased rainfall, and climate change. So just looking at population increase, we're going to start with that one. With a 9% increase, groundwater decreases by 44%. With a 2% growth, only 8%. Now let's add what is a good sign for the Maldives is water is supposed to increase because of rainfall. Now, one of the things we need to look at is with a 9% increase, it's still a decrease of about 14%. With a 2% increase, it actually increases the groundwater by about 12. But what if we add in climate change? Then we still have about an 8% decrease, but back to that 44% decrease with a 9% population growth. That's with climate change, water, all that involved. 44% is significant. That number is by 2030. That's very significant for the long-term problems. I've talked about climate change shortly. So what does climate change? Climate change affects the small items. The Gan Island is a medium island, and it's still a 44% increase with a high population increase. So that's a real big problem. So that problem is much more on the very small islands, where about a third of the Maldives actually lives on those islands. So what is the answer? To me, the answer is desalination. In hydrological processes in 2017 really talks about where desalination is the answer. Golgi Island, in Flotation and Separation article in 2014, they talk about how they use a desalination plant using excess heat from the power plant. Now that is a much cheaper way and a good way to get about 200 tons of water in per day. That's a lot. So for this, let's look at it. It's a very small island. You can walk around in maybe 20 minutes. That's the future I see. So where is also some of this coming from? China has given a grant to work in 2024, in April 2024, reported in Water HQ by Halim Mohammed about how they're going to use it for power plants and desalination on the 4 biggest islands in the Maldives. So that they can also get shipped from there to the smaller islands if needed, which is much cheaper than India. So I think really desalination is the long-term answer. I think that is the answer we're looking forward. And it looks like the Maldives is actually investing in that. Maldives is actually better than average according to the World Bank data in 2019, with only like a 5% poverty rate, which is low compared to most countries of the world. So I say looking forward to, there are a lot of good options going forward.